and this is Trading with Livevol. This is where I take my own Reg T account and trade using Livevol X, and then you guys can follow what I do each and every day. So let's just go right to my account. Looks like I'm having a good day, even though the month isn't that great. So here is my P&L for the day. Let me actually talk about APOLs because I know I have been bullish on this stock, and I've been waiting for confirmation with the order flow, but it hasn't really happened too much. As you guys know, I have a lot of spreads in APOL, mostly the 510, 530 here, 520, 540 call spread, and what I'm looking for is for APOL to finish, right around here or higher to collect a decent amount from it. So the other day I bought some calls, but I lost it, so I cut it short. But I noticed today, I know you guys know that I followed the Trader Minute guys, and that guy, the guy main trader Jeff, he actually bought some calls in APOL, which was so funny because I bought them the day before. So I decided to do a couple, see how it goes. But so I have some more calls. If I look at the chart in APOL, it's pretty much still kind of like it's not really moving, right? It's just just show it. It's still wedging right in here. I'm looking for. I have been looking for a while for order flow to confirm the up move. So far, it hasn't. Even though maybe they got some decent news before from with Microsoft being able to put the software on the iPad and so forth. But in the end, I'm just waiting for it to move, and hopefully it moves up. A couple of the other trades that I have is so I know I told you guys I sold this RSX. The April 23 calls 10 times because I thought maybe it's going to go on a little quiet period, and then right afterwards somebody sold the 22 puts, and I've been telling you guys that most likely maybe if this decays a little bit more, I might buy this and roll into the 22 puts. So I'm kind of still waiting for that. If I look at the order flow today, looks like a lot of these April 23 calls traded. Let's actually check them out. Yeah, so looks like this was in the middle. They're selling. They're on the bid. Yeah, so mostly looks like it's kind of mixed. This one looks like the only buy, but basically it's a push. So if I look at the chart, basically what I'm anticipating is that it'll just stabilize right here. Let me actually go to. So you see how it had this big bounce. Hopefully the Bollinger Band will start contracting, and maybe it'll stay there for a couple of more weeks, and I can get that premium. And what I'm trying to do with the strategy, as you guys know, is I'm trying to mimic more the strategies that I was doing on the floor as a market maker, and trying to do it with the Reg T. Right now, it's still in the development phase. So it's not. If you see it, a lot of my strategies might seem a little unstructured right now. That's because I'm trying to test out a lot of different strategies. But like if you look at the theta right now in gamma, you see how it's like negative $280. So what I'm trying to do is where the K is positive, so I collect, well, I'm positive gamma. Today is the last day of expiration, so this data is not really that indicative of my true data, but just because a lot of the options are going to expire today. So on Monday, I'll kind of have a general idea better of what my true data is and the gamma. But this is the right data for today. It's just going forward as the options just go to zero, what it'll be going forward. So what I was going to do is basically use this money, collect it in premium, and use it for somewhere else. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Maybe some earnings plays and stuff like that. Let me talk about EEM. I think I had a order working on this. Let me see. Yeah, so I'm trying to buy this, the one that I'm short, the one I sold for 29 cents. I'm trying to buy this back for a nickel. We'll see how that goes. But the ones that are in the money right now, if you can see all these, the calls I sold, basically they're all in the money. So I was thinking of maybe selling some of these against it, but I'm gonna have to roll out of this. So basically close it, and I was thinking of maybe putting on new positions. So I put in the April 42s, and at the time I was trying to sell them for 27 cents. Looks like it's gone down a decent amount, so I probably won't be able to get this off. But I'm gonna try to sell the calls as it's going up, and then sell the puts as it's going down. And then as like right now, the volatility is like pretty much like right in the middle. Let me go to the year. But as it goes to like in the 15 range, or it goes higher than the 28 range, I think that's when I'm going to start putting on a bigger bet, because if you know, selling premium, maybe you should just pick the ones that have high and low vol on the indices to do this strategy, and maybe I'll do that. Look at more other indices to put that on. So for today, I just got in the office to do this report, so I was in a meeting all day. So I couldn't even load up this earnings report. So I get this earnings report with what the options implied move is. Let me actually show you. Yeah, so this is what I get. This kind of, and this isn't today's. This is in the past, but I wasn't able to load the new one up. But you can see the implied move right here of the options, and then the last 4, 8, 12, the average moves it had. And so I get this report, and I use this to kind of look for trading opportunities to trade. So today, the one, I mean, there was a bunch of them, but the one I saw here that I recognized right away is Apollo. So so the volatility is, let's see, yeah, it's kind of getting up there. So basically, it's almost at a 52-week high. You can see the stock has been range bound for the whole year practically since January. And let's see what the order flow is saying. So it looks like people are, yeah, mostly they seem to be bullish. They're long. Yeah, so they're mostly buying these, the April 34s, right? So let me actually see what they're doing. So April 34th, the market opened. Let me actually backtrack. So the cool thing about the software, sorry, because I know the software really well, so I just click on it. But the reason why this is such an awesome software is you can do research so quickly. So you see how like 2,787 contracts traded on the April 0434 line. So if you click on this number right here, over here you have all the trades on this line. right? So you click on it once, and all the trades that happen on this line for the day comes up here. If you click on any of these trades, it'll actually pull up the option montage for all the trades that happened for the day and the quote. So you can see Apollo, April 04 weeklies, 34 calls, 10 traded, 130. It was on NASDAQ. It was a condition was an intermarket sweep, and the market was 119 bid at 130. The vol was 101, and the underlying was 3268. So it gives you tremendous amount of information right there. Green means it traded on the offer. Red means it traded on the bid. White means it traded in between, and purple means it traded out of the range. So that's how quickly I got it there. So like I'm looking at Apollo, right? I look at the stats. I see a lot of calls traded, right? At least 3 to 1. And then I look at the biggest trades, and it looks like the 34 calls, right? So I go to the option montage. Here it displays when the earnings are going to be, April 1st after the market close. So you know this is the earnings month. Then you click on this strike right here where the greatest amount of trades that happened. And here you have all the list of all the trades that happened, right? So that quickly, just by going a couple of clicks, you have all the trades that happen on that strike. You click on it again, and then you are taken to the time and sales tab where all the historical trades for that strike for today is listed in detail. So you can actually go and you scroll down, and you can see pretty much the first trades. All of them have been just buying, and then you see it's 22 bid at 132 was the last trade that people bought. You see 135 here. This was also on the offer, but this was probably splits. That's why it's white, but it's still pretty much on the offer. And then right now, right afterwards, you see that people are selling them on the bid. But the one thing you should note is if you look at the stock price right here, it only moved like 2 cents. So most likely what happened was you see how this is 10:01:50 and then this is 10:02:02. So 12 seconds later, basically, the stock moved up 2 cents. And these options, which are out of the money, should not be moving this much, right? So most likely what happened was people just started putting in bids. So even though all of these traded on the bid and it looks like a sell, it's actually not a sell, right? It's not a sell because the stock only moved up 2 cents. People have been buying this whole time, and then it was a resting order that's actually above fair value, right? Because it's they were trading like at 100 vol, and now it's like the fair value is 104. So most likely what happened, if I had to take a guess, is that this person put in a bid, then people came and started selling, right? People started selling, it exhausted the 136 bid, and now it was on the offer again, right? So this guy who was 136 bid or anybody else now came back and started lifting the offers again, right? So you can follow how people are actually trading on that line because you have an aggregate of all the trades here, right? Which is tremendous amount of information because you can see, oh, okay, so it looks like people are buying, but even though this is red and sold on the bid, people are still it's pretty much a buy, and then you can see all these green, right? So people are still buying as the stock is going up. People are buying. Same thing here, right? So 45 bids. So they were paying 143 here. Now you see somebody just putting a resting order for 145, and then other people are coming and hitting it, right? As soon as it got exhausted, it just remains at 145, and again, people start lifting. And then the guy comes back and puts more 145. So basically, this person is accumulating this position, and the software, if you want to, drill down to it, it actually gives you trades and quotes. So you can actually go to the exact trade. It'll give you the bid and ask of every exchange that was on that bid and ask, and it's time and quotes on this. So it's pretty awesome how detailed the information this gives. and it goes back to 2 years. So you see how the open interest is 3? So there's some position of about 3,000 that's being created where people are buying these for 130 to 145, let's say, right? So even at 145, for you to profit, the stock has to appreciate above 145 above the strike price, right? Which is 35.45. So the stock Apollo has to go above 35.45 for you to actually start making money, and right now it's just basically channeling, right? So the whole question is like, okay, well, I see that it's kind of like in a range. Is it breaking out to the upside or downside? I don't know fundamentals in terms of the earnings of Apollo. It's something that, if you guys trade it, maybe you guys can follow it. I have traded it way back in the day. This was even before this, when they just started, and there were a lot of talks about how valuable they were and how much funding they were getting from the government, and maybe the government might pull that funding and all that stuff. So I don't know what the story is currently, but it's worth investigating. But for those of you guys who trade Apollo and you actually have a position, it is absolutely vital that you have this information. And then you should actually keep track, right? So it's April 4th is the earnings. So every day you can keep track of what the biggest trades have been. You can actually do that using Livevol X. So let's say, I'm going to click on this, right? So it'll have all the biggest trade today, but just one click and you see all the trades that happened yesterday, the day before, and it's one toggle away. This is March 26th. You have the end of day option montage on these, and it's absolutely awesome. And I got it by just clicking on these bars, right? So you can actually go to this day where you have this huge spike in option volume. You click on it, and you actually can see what the biggest trade was. The biggest trade was this trade right here. Somebody actually sold, looks like, the Feb 32 March 35 call spread, right? So basically they sold the 35 calls, and they bought the Feb 33 calls. So they bought it's like a staggered time vertical call spread. So they buy the Feb 33 and sell the March 35. Now, did this guy make money? He did it in February 21st. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Looks like these probably went down, and the Feb 33s, unless they turned into stock or something. I don't know what it was at February expiration, but you can see how all the trades happened on that day, and you can see also people are buying these Feb calls back then. So maybe what people were thinking was something was going to happen here, but nothing happened, and now people are again starting to place bets. So in January, you say, okay, well, what happened here, right? You can look at it, and people are selling. They were buying the May 33 calls and selling the May 37 calls. So basically, they were putting on spreads at this time when Apollo was trading 33.74. So all around this time, there were bullish orders. There are bullish orders here, kind of, and then there's bullish orders here. So, even though the stock has been completely flat, the orders have been piling in on the bullish side, and so far they haven't been correct. So if you actually follow this, maybe the thing is it won't go up just because it hasn't happened the last 2 times, but it's a really quick way for anyone who uses this software to do research on Apollo. And I highly doubt that there's other software that is comparable to this where you can get this much research at once, right? By me just going and clicking on a bar, you can get the end of the option montage, you can see how much the stock moved, the IV changes, and the largest trades, right? And you can you can actually go to the option chart itself. You can click on this volume bar. It'll give you all the list here of all the trades that day, and you can actually see Apollo, all the trades in intimate detail right here. You can also filter it through size. You can also go back up to 2 years, right? So let's say you want to see all the option trades for Apollo today, right? But you want to see it for October 10th of 2013. Well, boom, here you go. So you want to do some research, basically it's all here. It's absolutely awesome where all this information is packed. And as you can see, I didn't type in one thing, right? So when I designed this, I made it very user-friendly to the trader because you need this information without having to type in like a 10-symbol command somewhere to go and back, see what happened with the order flow. Also, you can see the volatility, right? So you can see for the past year where the volatility has been, and you can see the earnings tabs right here. So every time they had earnings, Apollo appreciated in volatility. So if you're somebody who is thinking of buying options because you think Apollo is either going to have a good or bad earnings, it's important to know that you're pretty much buying option at the 52-week high, and probably maybe what you should do is do some kind of strategy where you are still taking your directional shot, but you're not actually buying naked options because this is very risky, right? So what should you do? Well, maybe you should do some kind of selling of the volatility, but still having a position where you are directional. So you can have a bullish spread, but you won't be just buying the 52-week high vol, but maybe even you'll sell volatility. And you can go to the earnings tab, and it'll actually tell you. And so what this is the last 4 earnings, right? So this is the date it was announced on top. Here is the 5 trading days before. So these are the candlestick charts of 5 days before and 5 days after, right? And here is the front 2-month straddle. So and this is the value as the straddle absolute value throughout this time period around earnings. So this is the second month straddle, and this is the 4th month. Obviously, the front month straddle is going to be valued less. But you can see by quick picture form that if you bought straddle here in June, you would have lost money. If you bought straddle here in October's earnings, you would have made money. Basically, you would have made money in January, and here it remains to be seen. And you actually can go back up to 2 years, right? So you can see like, oh, I made money, lost money, lost money. And you can have a quick recap of what happened with the earnings right after, right throughout the earnings, so you can get kind of a recap. And here you have the volatility. So it's the red is the front month, the blue is the second month, and you can see how the volatility gets crushed after earnings, no matter what happens to the stock, right? And this is where a lot of the folks who first start trading options make their mistake is they actually buy it right here, right? So you actually might buy a put here, stock goes down, and you don't make money, and you're like, well, what gives, right? Well, what gives is the fact that the professionals know that everyone is buying, so that drives the price of these options up leading up to earnings, and basically you can even though you're right on direction, the move might not be sufficient enough to offset this volatility going down. So if anything, if you wanted to put on a position where it's down, you can easily put on that position where you're not actually, you can at least be volatility neutral, or if you want to, if you have some idea, you might be short volatility by being more aggressive, and then you're still towards the downside. So what happens, like let's say this earnings happened and the stock didn't go down but stayed the same. Well, if the volatility gets crushed like this from like 90 to around the 40 range, well, you're gonna you're going to make money on the volatility going down, right? Even though the stock didn't move. So you can actually make money two ways. One, if the stock goes down like you thought it was going to go down. And two, if you sold vol, right? So you can make money both ways, provided you know the stock better. So, you know, I'm actually tempted to kind of, you know, I'm going to look into it more, and I'll report back to you guys, and I'll keep following it. But the two things I like is that the volatility is at a 52-week high. I know what they do, right? They have the Phoenix University, and the stock has been basically wedging, which means that the earnings event might be the catalyst to drive the stock out of this wedge. I also know, just by looking at checking this a very short time, like 10 minutes, that historically in the past, you know, 3 months, people have been betting bullish this whole time, but it hasn't really come to fruition. But maybe it will this time around. But we will see. So, you know, generally, I think this is something. There's something here. I'll do some research, and then I'll get back to you guys on that. The other stock that jumped out at me is Micron. Micron used to be actually one of the biggest stocks when I first got on the floor trading. Since then, it has changed. But so let's actually look at the stats. 21. Yeah, see how this is like a spread? April 26 calls. So let's actually look at that. Right, here you go. So you can see, you know, at the beginning, somebody bought, and then people are selling. And then a lot of times I look at the quantities to see what the big prints are, and they're selling, selling, selling. You see how here they were buying, and then this thing printed. So maybe my belief is that this was actually a buy, even though one's red and one's green, and they did it on split. So probably the price was 2.5 cents, even though it's the same exact strike. So when you guys look at these conditions and it's a spread, it's not always like a true spread. If you trade the same strike twice at 2 different prices, it could be construed as a spread. And every exchange has different conditions. So it's good to be aware of it. But you can see they did it for 20.5 cents. So let's say in this, if you follow this order flow, it looks like they were, you know, lifting the offer, and then basically they printed it for 20.5. That means that the Apollo has to be, Micron will have to be above 26, 20.5 for you to make money. It's kind of a long shot. And also let me actually type this in here, what you guys have to understand is people might actually be buying those calls to sell stock against it. So looks like it's been trending downward for the past couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens. But this is another interesting thing going up. April 3rd, aftermarket is when they're going to have earnings, and you can see the volatility is slowly creeping up. So you can almost, it might actually hit around the 60-70 range and see how it goes. So in my sheet that you guys don't see, what it's saying is that the options are implying a 9% move, and in the last 12 earnings, they averaged 8.6%. So it's kind of fairly valued for now, but we'll see. And the earnings are coming up. Maybe people who are doing some research can look at it, follow the order flow, and see what people are trading. So here you can also see a lot of the April 22s traded. You click on it. So just for recap, you see the order flow here, the volume. You click on the volume, you'll see all the trades for MU 22 calls. You can click on any of these trades, it'll take you to time and sales tab, and here you go, boom, like all the trades that happened and all the information. So like this 1,000 lot for 124, it's a spread, so maybe it was some kind of spread with another strike. We don't know, but you can see all the blocks have been buying on the offer. So, and the smaller guys, you can kind of ignore. So you can actually put in trade size that's greater than 100, right? And I'll give you all the trades that are greater than 100. So here they were selling, here they were buying. Overall, it's not something that's so drastic that gives you any indication, but it's another way for you to check how everything is going. So one thing for me is that my account is at a point where I don't really have that much more margin to trade. So I'm going to have to kind of wait it out on some of these to come in. So the funny thing is, like, if you look at these, I know in SeaWorld I talked about this. You see this 5,000 that traded just a couple of days ago, right here. Oh, sorry, right here. So what I did was, this is open interest. So I go to this options tab and I see this open interest. You can click on the at the money strike right here. And what it'll do is it'll pull up this tab right here. This has the option price and the high-low for the day on that particular series. Here, it'll give you the volatility, and here it gives you the open interest, right? So anytime I click on it, I can kind of see like, oh, looks like a lot of volume traded on this day, right? March 24th. If you look at the top left, so look at this little box right here, you'll see the date 3/24. I close out, I go to the chart, and I actually go to that day on 3/24. You see how this 3/24, you click on the volume bar and all the biggest trades come in, right? So you can see all these trades, they were selling. And basically in my previous video, it was in the same time as Blackstone saying they're going to get rid of 15 million shares. And my thinking is like, yeah, well, basically nothing's going to happen to the stock. They want to sell 15 million shares. It's a pretty safe bet. It's not going to go above 35. So I sold. I was trying to sell 10, but only were able to sell 2 at 15 cents, but it took up $2,000 worth of margin, and it wasn't really worth it. So this morning, I put it in, buying 2 back for a nickel, and then so I got filled. So I made, I made a dime on 2 contracts in a few days, not because I came up with my own idea, but I was just piggybacking this person who actually, they all read the same news, they probably came to the same conclusion, and then if I had more money, I probably would have done more. And usually I don't like selling like cheap options. It's not really a good strategy. But in this instance, I thought it was a pretty safe bet that you can sell and buy it back for cheaper. And today I put in a nickel bid and I closed it. So this is where like you can see the order flow generating your idea, and you can close it. But we did talk about this, and to me, like in the long run, as a Reg T account, it's not really worth it because it just took up too much margin. So I closed it. I should get 2,000 back. So maybe I can do some trading. RSX is another one. I sold a 10 lot, and this is taking up 5,000 in margin. So, it's something that I will have to learn more as time continues and do a better job. If you guys, I think as we go, one of the comments has been like, I use this software so frequently and so often, I go to all these different pages really quickly, and it's not really clear how I'm getting them or why I'm going there. So I'm going to try to explain a little bit more step by step how I'm doing it. That way you guys can actually see the benefit of trading using this product. So if you guys want to get a demo of Livevol X, go to livevol.com, get a free trial, and then you guys can actually see for yourself. But it's pretty much a fantastic product, and I was using it as a market maker, and the market makers are currently using it as well. And I'm actually this is the first time I've started the Reg T account, and I'm going to actually use it to trade and see if I can profit from it. But hope you guys have a great rest of the day, good trading, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.